all. My name is Jasmine Jones, and I am a licensed clinical social worker, and you are now watching Black Girl, a Therapist in the Wild, and this little show I like to call Therapist Sips and Reviews. Early 2000s Rewind. And today we are reviewing Training Day 2001, and we are sipping on Kahlua oat milk and Kahlua chocolate drops or some I don't know what they call it. How y'all doing? So I was watching Training Day, right? And I was like, this was one of the movies that I thought Denzel was the finest in. Obviously, I was still in a traumatic mindset. This one and Much Ado About Nothing. I'm still with the blouse and the open V-neck cut. That's the only thing I was paying attention to in that Shakespearean play. But as I was watching this movie, I just realized this character is like a bitch, like a whole bitch. And I'm going to explain why Alonzo, Denzel Washington's character in this movie, is a fucking bitch. So this movie is basically blow by blow showing you a narcissistic manipulation, a narcissistic type manipulation, and how from beginning to end they start off with these small things and it escalates to these huge things, but their arrogance is what fucks them up. So first we have to understand the difference between confidence and arrogance. Confidence is something that's rooted within yourself. Most of your validation comes from inside of you. You are rooted within you. And outward validation is cool. That's like the cherry on top of the cake. But the whole cake, the icing, that's you. Outward validation just is there to remind you that other people see your greatness too, and it's not just you. So that you can just get that little, okay, other motherfuckers see that I'm amazing. That's magical. And then move on about your life. And then, you don't move through life if you're confident, caring about the whims and wills of others like that. Like, you care enough to, like, you don't want to hurt people or anything. It's just that you're more so focused on things that make you feel good and make you happy. And then that's what you pursue in life. And then you start to collect people who are on the same wavelength as you and have similar and maybe different likes and dislikes, but you are together where it counts in the foundational area of morals and values and respect for each other and respect for each other's boundaries. So it's not something where you're selfish and you isolate and all this. No, confidence is just, I like myself. My answer is the final answer. I might ask for advice from other people, but my decision is the final decision for myself. And I'm not going to feel too bad if you don't like me for being me. As long as I'm not harming myself or other people, causing wreckage and chaos and things like that, then I should be able to be weird and random and do what I want to do and live in my own little world, and then collect the people who would also like to be in my own little world, and we can create our own little world together, right? Arrogance, on the other hand, is a mask that is built by people who don't like themselves. And so they use fear and control to gain attention from other people. And they put on this mask of arrogance and they pretend like they're better than everyone else around them, which blinds them to the individuality and autonomy of the other people that they're interacting with. So that leaves them weak and vulnerable to the fact that these other people will do some outlier type shit that is outside of what you thought they were, because you objectified them and put them in a box, and that's all you see them as they're in the box that you put them in that you can control. But they are plotting and planning and slowly building up anger and resentment towards you and your arrogance, and seeing the weak motherfucker underneath that can be easily manipulated if we just all fall back and shit. And so basically arrogance is fake. It's fake, and that's what this nigga was in this movie. So then I had to look up, like, is he a narcissist? Is he a sociopath? I came to the conclusion that he's a narcissistic sociopath. So basically, narcissistic sociopaths are narcissists that have sociopathic type behavior. So I brought my DSM out. Oh my gosh. Once again, so we're just going to go through the symptomologies of narcissism. And then we're going to go through this, if you want to learn some shit before I start reviewing the movie, you can. If you don't, you can fast forward and learn some shit while I'm reviewing the movie. But this needs to be stated, so this makes sense as I go along, okay? So let's start with narcissism. So narcissism is mainly about how the person views themselves and wants other people to view them or how they think other people should view them. So it needs to have 5 or more of these symptoms to be clocked as narcissistic personality disorder, and of course tested by a licensed therapist and or psychiatrist and stuff. So don't be like, oh, I do that. No, this is like a prevalent personality that is consistent in these people. This is how they view the world. This is not, oh, one time I hit a bitch in the face and I didn't have empathy for it. No. It's a prevalent personality trait. They get off on this stuff and they're like this most of the time. Okay, so has a grandiose sense of self-importance, ergo exaggerated achievements and talents, expects to be recognized as superior without commensurate achievements, is preoccupied with fantasies of unlimited success, power, brilliance, beauty, or ideal love, believes that he or she is special and unique and can only be understood by or should associate with other special or high status people or institutions, requires excessive admiration, has a sense of entitlement, i.e. unreasonable expectations of especially favorable treatment or automatic compliance with his or her expectations, is interpersonally exploitative, i.e. takes advantage of others to achieve his or own ends, lacks empathy, is unwilling to recognize or identify with the feelings and needs of others, is often envious of others or believe that others are envious of him or her, shows arrogant, haughty behaviors or attitudes. So narcissists usually tend to be very, very, attention seeking. Their ideas are right. They will manipulate you into believing that they're the shit. And it's not that they actually believe that they're the shit. It's because a lot of people believe that a lot of these personality disorders have come from trauma. So, like narcissism and borderline personality disorders. Those are the two disorders that involve something outside of you that needs to act right so that you can feel fulfilled inside. It's not necessarily something that's coming out of you or that's inside of you that needs to, like depression. Depression is inside of you, and it's you feeling shitty about yourself and you crashing out on yourself, and occasionally thinking people don't like you, but the goal is that you basically don't like yourself and you can feel it. Narcissism needs the attention, and that is the goal of these folks, and they will seek out any way or anyhow to get that attention. That's why these videos about narcissistic supply, they'll get victims to be in relationships with them or in friendships with them and stuff like that. And then they'll siphon the energy out of these victims because they need as much attention as possible. And when they get overwhelmed and upset, they often have angry outbursts and things like that. I would also say that the manipulative quality of narcissists can, cover up the fact that they were manipulated as a child, they were abused as a child, they were hurt. Now, it's not 100%. A lot of people don't necessarily believe that, like it's trauma related. Like, for the most part, like trauma causes all, representations of narcissism. But the fact that you need attention, you need something that is not an innate, like it's not an innate human emotion that you would feel like just genuinely from yourself. So I've been reading this book, and let's go into Sociopath first before I talk about the book I was reading, because it's a really good book. So sociopath, or antisocial personality disorder, that's what it's called in the DSM-5, are a set of behaviors that you need like 3 or more of to be diagnosed as antisocial personality disorder. And the same thing I said before, after being tested and, seeing a therapist and maybe a psychiatrist and stuff like that, not because I read some symptoms and now you think that that's not how. It's a prevalent personality trait. You get off on this stuff and it makes you happy to do these things, or it makes you feel something, euphoric or whatever, to do these things. Not, I hit my friend in the face that one time and it made me feel euphoric. Okay, but do you actively seek out people to hit in the face all the time because that is the thing that makes you feel euphoric? Tina, that's the difference. Okay, so symptoms of antisocial personality disorder. Failure to conform to social norms with respect to lawful behaviors as indicated by repeatedly performing acts that are grounds for arrest. Deceitfulness, as indicated by repeated lying, use of aliases, or conning others for personal profit or pleasure. Impulsivity or failure to plan ahead. Irritability and aggressiveness is indicated by repeated physical fights or assaults. Reckless disregard for safety or self or others. Consistent irresponsibility is indicated by repeated failure to sustain consistent work behavior or honor financial obligations. Lack of remorse as indicated by being indifferent or rationalizing having hurt, mistreated, or stolen from another. So these are mainly behaviors that involve criminal activity, angry outbursts. They don't necessarily want attention. A lot of them want to assimilate and not be noticed so that they can go about their criminal activity without getting caught. But when you combine narcissism with that, they want the attention. So we have to think of the Ted Bundys of the world that had no empathy and had this urge and need to commit these criminal actions, but still wanted some type of attention for it. So like the BTK killer and how he was sending these, letters to the police, and that's how he got caught because of his arrogance. And he didn't one of the things they said about the BTK killer is that when he got caught, he sent a floppy disk with his letter on it to the police, right? And he asked the police, will I get caught, or is there anything that could connect this back to me on this floppy disk? He asked the police that. He sent a letter or whatever, and they put no, there's not. They lied, of course, they're the police, but because there's something going on with his socializing situation, something akin to like autism that happens with autistics. Like you take things at face value. Sociopath and autism, we're not putting them in the same category, but there are some similar things as far as socializing and not understanding social cues and taking things at face value and bluntness that can go into sociopathy. So basically he sent this shit off, and that's how they caught him. And then he was surprised, genuinely surprised that they lied to him. Like, why would you be? Yeah. So when you combine the need for attention with the lack of empathy and the lack of care for others, then that's what you have as far as a sociopathic narcissist. And that's what I believe Alonzo was. So I've been reading this book, and it's really good, and it's made me reassess how I view people, because I was really putting people in categories of they cannot be healed. And this book made me realize it's called Sociopath by Patrick Gagne, and she is a PhD. She's a therapist, and she has been diagnosed with antisocial personality disorder or sociopathy. This term can be interchangeable, but there are some books that have different definitions for sociopathy than it does for antisocial personality disorder. Antisocial personality disorder definitions, the symptoms are more so behavioral traits. For sociopathy, some of those things are like thoughts and feelings they often have, and ways they relate to other people and stuff like that. Basically, because I think also you have to, when you add trauma to this diagnosis, sociopathy, it turns it into some other shit. So she wasn't in an overly traumatic environment. I think her parents got divorced, but she had like really loving parents. But as she was getting older, she realized like she just could not relate to other people's emotions, and she was emotionless unless she was doing something impulsive or something that was criminal. Those were the spikes of adrenaline that would come up basically, and the sparks of dopamine. But and her biggest, burst of feelings was like when she actually hurt somebody and stabbed this little girl in the neck with a pencil. And then that's when she realized that she needs to figure out what's going on with her, because she didn't actually want to hurt people, right? And so she describes it as like, you think like the basic RBG colors, red, blue, green, right? Well, human beings are born with these basic set of emotions: happy, sad, angry. Those are the basic emotions. And then we learn the social emotions like envy, embarrassment, jealousy, guilt. We learn those socially. And then that basic set of emotions starts to grow into a spectrum of emotions as we interact socially when we get older. She's postulating that people with sociopathy don't have that ability to connect to those social emotions that easily. So they have to work harder at it, or it may not come about. But basically, she never really feels guilty about anything. She doesn't feel remorseful. She doesn't feel jealous. She doesn't feel envious. She doesn't feel all of those emotions. And then when she does feel them, it's like muted. Like it's not intense or extreme. But because your brain is set up to feel all of the emotions, when it's not able to, what happens inside of her is she develops this like apathy that starts to build up over time. And I'm not finished with the book, but I'm at the part where she's in college and she's learning that the apathy is like triggered by outside expectations of other people wanting her to show emotion. So she has to mask a lot when she's around people and pretend so they don't see that she got some shit going on. But it also is caused by just that subconscious need for the brain to feel other emotions. So she describes it as like a pressure that builds up inside of her. She calls it stuck stress, that over time, if she doesn't release this pressure by doing something impulsive and criminal like, then it doesn't get released. Now I haven't finished the book, but apparently like I watched a video that she did, and her and her therapist work through other ways that she can deal with this anxiety that doesn't involve criminal shit. So I'm gonna get to that. But she was doing shit like going into empty houses and stealing cars and doing stuff like that, little things to kind of release some of this pressure and stuff so that she could feel something for a second. And so she's postulating that this is a spectrum disorder. Like antisocial disorder is a spectrum disorder, kind of like autism, where like you have these various symptoms that one could be greater than the other. It just depends on how the symptoms represent for the individual, right? And so a lot of these symptoms also involve socializing and the ability to socialize, or not having the ability to socialize, right? And so when you combine like there's no one's studying this. She decided to do this on her own and become a PhD on her own. So nobody's studying sociopaths outside of criminals in the prison system. So there are people out there that are probably feeling this way and wanting. She describes it as like a Wednesday Addams. That's the type of, it's like mild to moderate sociopathy, like a Wednesday Addams, where you still can make connections with people, you still can interact with people, you still have love and care for people, but it's kind of in this muted sort of way, and there's not a lot of remorse or regret or guilt around the actions that you cause when you get impulsive and shit like that. But you're still like Wednesday's still like a cool ass chick though, like like, you know. So she describes it as that, and like characters that can be like that in television, and noticing those types of characters and noticing how they react to things and how they interact with people and stuff. And so getting back to that, like RBG, red, blue, green, I'm wondering, like when you mix these comorbidities of sociopathy and narcissism together, where narcissists have these extreme emotional outputs because they want and need and thrive on this attention. That's what helps release the pressure inside of them from their sociopathic urges. That's how I'm just going to put it like that. Like, what is that? What is that? Like, I want to know more. Like, I want to know more. So when I'm watching this, I'm just looking at this nigga and I'm just like, you really need this attention. Like, you really need it so bad. So let's get to the movie. So we got this white dude, and he is a new cop. He's a rookie in narcotics, and he's been a cop for about 18 months, 19 months, something like that. And so he's doing a training day with Alonzo. And so they meet up, and right out top, Alonzo started dropping these little breadcrumbs, testing this nigga. Overly aggressive when he gets into the car, you know, standoffish, mean. If that was all it was, it would just be like, you're a grouchy police officer, right? But no, sir. Alonzo's a narcissist sociopath. So basically they're like driving around, they're in a restaurant getting breakfast, and one of the first tests is asking this nigga, you know, first he asked him about his wife. And the man is like, can you not talk about my wife? And the dude is just like, and I know, like, it led up to him telling him to take his wedding ring off, but you could just told him that off top. You wanted to see a reaction. You needed to see if he was, how malleable he was. That's what these little tests are for, to see how much you're going to put up with in order for me to get to the big thing that I want you to put up with, the big thing that I want to scapegoat you for, or whatever the fuck the bigger plan is that you don't know. That's why you got to notice red flags, because you don't know what the end result is going to be. All the red flags in the beginning look the same, y'all. They look the same, but you don't know if that's going to end up being you in a box somewhere. Or the nigga just a fuckboy and he cheats on you and shit. Like, he's just a cheater. Like, I mean, compared to being in a box and dead, like, that's just a, I could leave. Like, I could leave. Like, it's fine. So he keeps bringing up his wife, and then he tells him to take his ring off and shit, right? He tells him to tell him the story about, like, the wildest thing that happened while you were out and about doing the policing. And he tells him this story about how him and his other trainer pulled over this dude that had a car full of guns and narcotics and shit like that. He thought he's young and new, and he thinks this is cool and fun to talk about. He thinks he's telling him something, which he probably would be if he wasn't talking to a narcissistic sociopath. And so this nigga looks at him and he goes, "You was in a car with a fine ass bitch this whole time, and that's the best story you could tell." So he's tearing him down. He's tearing him down. His self-esteem. He was already came in like, the nigga tried to hype himself up. So Denzel tried to hype himself up as like, "I know what I'm doing, and this is my squad, and if you ain't ready for narcotics, you need to leave." And then this nigga showed his hand, and I was just like, damn it. He was just like, before all the tests started to even happen, like, he showed his fucking hand when he said, I'll do anything you tell me to, sir." And I was just like, oh shit, because the nigga eyes lit up, and I was like, fuck. But he didn't know. You ain't never been around motherfuckers like this. Your knee jerk is to think that people are decent people, especially if, like, you haven't experienced police brutality and all the horrible things that the police have done to black people and shit. Like, you wouldn't be up in there talking about, "I would do everything you tell me to do." No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. No. So anyways, they leave, and then they do a narcotics bust. Talking about, "Oh, this is an informant that I know, and he knows me. He tells me when there's big busts coming along." And I'm just like, I know it was a setup to get this nigga high, but like, I was just like, you pouring a lot of shit on this. These motherfuckers are college students coming to get some weed and a bug, and the weed isn't even good. Nigga, it got seeds and stems and shit in it, and I'm just like, love. It's like, and then like when they pull him over, he makes this big ass scene and got them up against the window. He needs to make this scene, and I'm just like, love. No, it's like when them niggas them toxic niggas get mad over just the smallest thing and then just make this big ass scene. It's like if you make their eggs runny, and now you made my eggs runny, and then flip the table and shit, and you're just like, oh my gosh. I mean, like, I could remake them or just put them back on the stove and swear them up a little bit more, love. Like, what is it? What's the problem? Like, and they do that because they want to catch you off guard. And the dude is like scared. He's not like the goal is to shake you up so much. So you go between being in awe and being scared. And so then you don't have time to think. That's the goal of him being chaotic like that, because he wants to shake this nigga up so this nigga ain't thinking. But this nigga's thinking. He didn't become a cop for no reason. He may have came off as a people pleaser and all this other stuff, but because you only see him based off the box you put him in, that's your weakness. You don't see him as the individual that can be outside that box doing what they want to do. And that's how you create enemies that kill you and shit one day. Anyways, so they get the drug, and then this nigga makes him smoke like marijuana mixed with Sherm, and I was just like, at that point, if it was me, the person that I am now, I mean, I'm not a cab nigga. I'm not ever gonna be no police, whatever. But somebody with that energy come around me, like, I'm gone as soon as you start, making it seem like what I'm saying don't matter to you or it's less than. But especially if you trying to force me to smoke this, and I have a job where they test my blood and I need to pay bills and shit, I would have just got out the car and walked off. I mean, he may have shot me in the back in the middle of the intersection, but I doubt it. Like, that nigga's still a coward. He's still a coward. No, you say I was bowing and scraping to them higher up ranked LAPD detectives or whatever, chiefs or whatever. No, he's a bitch. I'd have got out out that motherfucker and walked away. See how powerful you are when you love yourself? I looked at that nigga and I'm like, I'm not smoking that. I don't know what the fuck is in that. Are you crazy? I would have got the fuck out that bitch and walked away. And then his whole plan of having a scapegoat or whatever the fuck he was using that nigga for, because at the end of the day, he sent them over to the Latinos to get murdered and shit. So I don't even know what the goal was of that, to involve this nigga in this when you was just gonna kill him anyways. Like, I guess your team is doing the investigation. Is this a backup plan, or like, because if he's dead, then like what was the point of even having him? See, they don't be thinking clearly. They just be thinking based off what they want, and then that's how you fall apart. That's how you see it's a bitch. So he smokes this shit, and then they're driving. He's high, and then he sees this girl getting raped, right, or about to get raped in the alleyway, right? So he gets out the car and beats these two white dudes up by himself. I think it was the high, because that nigga kept kicking him in his chest and the stomach and shit, and he choked that motherfucker out before he grabbed that other nigga. So this nigga can fight. He couldn't fight that house full of Latin folks, but you know, he could fight. So he saves the little girl, and then he's just appalled that this nigga doesn't want to arrest them. Like, he's just like, why don't you arrest them? Why don't you? Because he was just like, because that's for the trash men. We're trying to be detectives. We're narcotics. We're better than this. We don't do. And I'm just like, we just sitting here not seeing. It's okay, love. No, that's who they go after. They go after people that either have never experienced narcissistic, sociopathic abuse, or they go after folks that have experienced it and have normalized it, so they're okay with everything that's going on. I don't know what he is. I'm leaning towards he's never experienced this shit before. But at the same time, the way he was looking at this nigga after a while, like, is this nigga crazy? Made me think that he wasn't falling for the okie doke and shit. So I'm not sure. I don't know who came first, the Trump supporter or the nigga in the house. I'm just gonna go with the nigga in the house. So they go to his friend's house. So I'm gonna still call that nigga a Trump supporter. I don't know why, because he called himself a Trump supporter. So he's Trump. He went and he rapped it and he did things, and he's a Trump supporter. So anyways, he went to this nigga's house. I've always thought this nigga looked like Clint Eastwood, and I've always mistaken him for Clint Eastwood. He's younger than Clint Eastwood, but he looks like Clint Eastwood. I don't care. And if you don't know who Clint Eastwood is, you're too fucking young, and I'm not explaining it to you. Google it. And so he goes into this nigga's house and he chopping it up with the nigga, pretending to be his friend and all this other, and I'm just like, this nigga is trifling. And you see how easy and chill he was with this man. This man was gonna let him take the money and just call it. He was gonna call it, but he had to kill this mother. Something in him had to kill this motherfucker, right? And so, like, the first time they go into the house and talk and chit chat and whatever, and this nigga's about to go to the Philippines in a few months, and he's about to retire, live his life and whatever. And apparently, he used to sell drugs to the children from the prisons. He was a cop, and he sold drugs in the neighborhood. They're all bad cops except for this little white boy. All cops are bad though, because you sitting by letting niggas do shit like this. But in this movie, he's not a bad cop because he tried to stop these niggas from doing this shit. Okay, so I'm gonna give him that. But anyway, so they go and they chop it up, then they leave, right? Then they go and they arrest the Trump supporter, Snoop Dogg, who's in a wheelchair selling drugs. They make him throw up and his drugs in his system, and then they take his gun and all this random shit, and this nigga just standing there watching him beat on this nigga, like, just shocked and appalled and just doesn't know what to do next and stuff. And I'm just like, love, I need you to, I don't know, like, when you first are introduced to some shit like this, you're in shock, like, and this is your job, and this is how these niggas get caught up in that's why all cops are bad. This is really illustrating why all cops are bad, because you get in there, and I'm sure the Blue Blood Brotherhood or whatever the fuck they call themselves makes you do something like this, some shit like this. Maybe not this extreme, like shooting niggas in the chest with a shotgun and all this other stuff, but they make you cross lines. They test you. They do these things to make you feel like you are beholden to this department. And if you ever step out of line, we got you. we set you up so that you'll take the fall or you'll look bad. And so you feel like you can't tell on these niggas. And so why would you join any agency company that makes it so that will set you up so you can't tell on them if they're doing some fuck shit? Why would you join that? You know that that's what they do. Why would, like, I've had clients, kids that be like, I want to be a cop one day, and I'm just like, oh shit. I don't tell them that they shouldn't be. I just be like, oh, okay. You ever thought of being a firefighter? Like, maybe that might be more advantageous. But they be like, no, I want to protect my neighborhood and my people in my neighborhood. And I'll be like, I hope you do get to protect your people in your neighborhood, and that's what you actually get to do, and not have to like bow down to some evil ass system that says that you put up and shut up and let us beat these motherfuckers in the street. That's all I can be thinking when they be saying shit like that. Like, I hope you do take care of these people, because they need people to take care of them and shit from these evil ass police officers that want to beat them in the street. Then we go like to Macy Gray's house. It's all over. We go to Macy Gray's house, and he steals money from Macy Gray. Like, he says he has a warrant, wants to search the house. The gang members in the neighborhood, like, she sounds the alarm, and they start shooting at him, and then they leave, right? And so now he has this money. So then he goes to meet with the higher up, chiefs and whatever. And that's when we find out that the Russians are after him. And later on in the movie, we find out that he snapped and beat, impulsive, emotional. He snapped and beat one of the Russians to death in Vegas while he was gambling or whatever the fuck he was doing. And now they want $1 million from him by tonight. And it happened, I think, the day before. And they don't think he's going to be able to get it. They're just going to kill him. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, this nigga is wild. So they're telling him, like, the Russians are after you and we don't want to see you on a newspaper and all. He's like, no. And then bowing and scraping. That's how you know he's a coward. No, you bow and scrape to people that you think are above you. Maybe up until you can get above them, whatever the case may be. But, like, there's no integrity here. We're putting a mask on based off of whoever we're interacting with. Most of the time the mask is angry, aggressive, controlling power. But now it's submissive bitch mode because these niggas have more power than me. And I'm just like, nigga, this nigga's a bitch. Like, I don't know what to tell you. So then we go to the project. So he lives in the jungles. I think that's in Inglewood somewhere. I don't know. I am in the South Bay girl. I was not over there like that. I think I've been there to that place one time. And so like, he goes to the jungles. I think it's the jungles. If it's not the jungles, then I don't know, the projects. And he rules the projects, right? And everybody's supposed to be scared of him and whatever the fuck, because he's a police officer and he's big and bad, and he's so proud of that. And that's all he sees when he's walking through and dapping up a nigga, talking to him, and a nigga talking about, thank you for what you did to my nephew and for my nephew paying for his such and such. And I'm just like, that's love bombing. That's how they rule the neighborhood. These charity drives and giving money here and there, but then coming back and like stealing from you and shooting up the neighborhood and cussing you out in front of people and shit. Like, then that means that if that is a consistent behavior of them being toxic and fucked up, then that means the good times were love bombs. They were just to keep you hooked, reeled on in. And you saw it when he was interacting with the little white dude, right? One minute you cussing me out about my being high and smoking in your car, and the next minute you congratulating me on holding down these white people in this bug and shit. Sir, like, it's giving very chaotic, very wishy-washy, very like, yeah. So anyways, he's fucking, what's her name? Longoria, Eva Longoria, whatever her name is, the Latin bitch upstairs with the baby. And so he's fucking on her, right? So he has 4 kids. So now I'm assuming that each kid has a different baby mama. Because there was only one child in that apartment. And he leaves the dude sitting on the couch, knocked out with his son. This man could be a whole child molester. You know what? They was having a shootout, and the only person that cared about his son was that white man. So let me shut up. He goes, fucks her. They come out. And then, I don't know why he put money in the trunk of one of them niggas' cars. So the money he stole from Macy Gray, he put it in the trunk of another car at the restaurant where the LAPD chiefs or whatever was at. And I'm not exactly sure why he did that, who he was paying off, what he was doing, but yeah, that happened. And then like they're in an apartment. This nigga goes sleep on the couch, wake up, and then they leave, right? Then they go back to the nigga that looked like Clint Eastwood's house, right? I don't care. That nigga looks like Clint fucking Eastwood when he was young. And so like they're at his house, and basically the other police officers that's on his squad come. Well, first they meet on a parking garage rooftop, right? They plotting and planning on how to get this nigga his money. So the new dude just thinks this is a raid at first. Like, he's not really clocking that. Like, no, this isn't a raid. This is some illegal shit. So they get to his house, they bust in, they steal the money out the floor, and then he tries to make the white dude shoot Clint Eastwood, right? Clint Eastwood looking nigga. White dude's just like, are you fucking around with me? Even the Clint Eastwood looking nigga was like thinking that this was just fucking around and shit. Like, he didn't even think this nigga was serious. And I was just like, oh shit, this nigga told you to close the windows and shit, love. Like, neither of y'all are clocking this. Like, you the intended victim, and you still sit here laughing and giggling, but then go look shocked when that nigga shoots you in the chest. So the white boy doesn't want to do it, right? And it is what it is, because why would you want to do some shit like that? So he shoots him in the chest, and so they take his money, and that's going to be the money that he uses to pay back the Russians, right? White boy is shell shocked. He don't know what to do. This nigga's telling him that he gets this nigga down, got the shotgun, about to shoot this nigga in the face, and then this nigga telling him like, well, you smoked today. And I was like, damn it. Oh, it was for a reason. It was all planned and plotted for a fucking reason. I don't know. It was. He'd been planning this weeks out. He was planning this with this rookie, and I was just like, was he like the backup? Because you was gonna kill him and had the Latin folks kill him and shit. Like, what? It's not logicalizing the way it's supposed to. So, or maybe because he didn't want to do it, they saw him as the weakest link. But then it's like, you've been planning this weeks ahead of time. So did you plan to have him actually join the squad? Or like, was this something that was put upon you and you didn't want to take him around for a training day, but this was just something that was put upon you, and so you just went along with the plan and plotted to kill him afterwards anyways? Like, I don't know. Maybe that was it. That makes more sense than like, oh, we were going to use you as a scapegoat or some shit. Like, because I was just like, but you was going to have the Latin folks kill him. So what was the scapegoat part about? So he gets the gun, gets on top of this nigga, about to shoot him in the face, and nigga's like, oh no, but you took them drugs today. Like, we could just run your blood and say that you was out here smoking Sherm and shit. He was just like, oh shit. So he goes along with it. They go back to the projects, right? And they go to the Latin folks' house. And he's sitting in the kitchen while this nigga go somewhere in the house. He gives these niggas some money, talking about, oh, we have to feed the family and shit. And so he's thinking, oh, he's just paying off the gang members and shit, right? So while he's paying off the gang members, this little white boy sitting at the table with these Latin folks, and they just all looking at him and shit. First they get his gun off of him because they want to see his gun, and I'm just like, you're not gonna see my gun, love. Like, you want to see a bullet in the face? Like, he gives them his gun. He takes the bullets out, puts the little thing on the table. The other nigga takes the little thing, and the other nigga takes the gun. He gets his gun back. He does not get the bullets back, and that's when they tell him that nigga has left him here at this place, and I am just appalled. I was just like, from the littlest things in the morning that was happening, now we're trickling down to being butchered in a bathtub by Latin gang members, and it all started off with you just being aggressive and not respecting my boundaries. Like, shit most niggas do. Like, this is... But we never expect to be murdered and put in a bathtub for some shit that most niggas do, that most people do. I've manipulated someone at some point in my life, and like, but it's not a personality trait. It's not something I get off on. It's not something I want to do all the time. It was just some shit because I was in a darker place and I was being manipulative and fucked up and mean. Like, this is just some human shit. But we didn't know we was gonna end up in a bathtub though. That's why you just gotta clock it every single time. Because there's no guarantee where you're going to end up if you are in denial about the manipulative, toxic shit that you're viewing in front of you, making excuses and shit like that. I know he was between a rock and a hard place because that was his job, and he didn't want to lose his job and all this other stuff. And he would have went back and told them that this nigga gave him Sherm and whatever the fuck, or asked for a new trainer or whatever the fuck, and they would have been hard on him and treated him fucked up. Well, you shouldn't have been a motherfucking cop, nigga. Like, this is what the situations they put you in to strip you of your humanity and not care about other people. Okay, apparently Denzel character, according to the chief that was in the restaurant, used to be just as kind and green and nice as this nigga, but I low-key feel like that was just something else he was hanging on to make him feel above everybody else, being the best cop in the world, until he became jaded and then just decided to play against them, because that's just who he was. Really, in reality, because this isn't some shit that just popped up in his older age. That's a lie. that shit don't happen like that. So anyways, he's in the house. They got him over the tub. They about to kill him, and then they reach into his pocket because they want to steal his money. Pull out a wallet. So the little girl from earlier dropped the wallet on the ground. And they look, and it's this nigga's cousin. I was like, that was Jesus. Look at God. This is nigga's cousin, everything. And so basically, he calls his cousin. Cousin confirms that she almost got raped by these two niggas in the street. And this white dude came out of nowhere like Superman and started beating the fucking shit out of him. And so they let him go. You know, just after they were honorable thieves. The honor of thieves. Mm-hmm. They still got the money. It was the principal. They let him go, and then this nigga goes and finds him at his girl's house, and he in there counting money on the bed, and she naked, and he pulled a gun on her, and they having a shootout in the house. He told the little boy to hide in the closet. The little boy steps out the closet. This is how you know this nigga don't care about people. He is still shooting with the little boy standing there. And then he uses the little boy as a pawn to get the other dude to stop shooting him. Like, look, my son is here. My son is here. And I'm just like, you don't care about people. Not even your own child. You would have let your child get shot up. Like, even when they were on the couch, and I don't know what he said to his son in Spanish, but he was like, when dude fell asleep with his son on the couch, first of all, he was watching him very creepily. Then second of all, like, when he told the dude to leave, he was just like, said something to his son, but it was just like this dead look. This nigga played this part. Well, he said this is his favorite movie. I was just like, yeah, this nigga's an actor. I mean, like, I don't know where he pulled this shit from. I hope it doesn't come from a real place, but he's an actor. So they're having a shootout. They run out into the projects and shit like that. And then they have a standoff. And then he gets this nigga's gun, or the gun falls to the ground. And then he got the gun on this nigga, right? And the nigga trying to like tell everybody in the neighborhood to protect him. Everybody just looking at him. So this is that part where I say that you can't lead with fear and control, because it leaves a weakness open for you to be killed or hurt, or it creates vengeance in other people. Like, you can't lead by fear, because over time, people will come to resent you and plot against you, and they'll have a reason. Now, that doesn't mean that if you're a decent person, you're not going to have people plotting against you just because they're jealous and shit like that. But I promise you, there's less of those people than the people that you've actively hurt in your life. Sometimes the plotting against you just means they're going to leave you. They're going to walk the fuck away, and you're going to be by yourself one day. Some old folks home and shit, if you get lucky enough to be in an old folks home and not homeless or some shit. But like, no, when you lead with control and with fear, you make people afraid of you. They don't like you. So off top, I don't like this leader. He's a piece of shit. But I'm scared of him because he's a cop. So low key, and the more people that you have that you're leading, in the less control you have over how much these people are actually afraid of you. And then that's how revolutions start. That's why you can't lead with fear and control. You just creating your own enemies that'll kill you one day. Like, that's what I've learned. And so you lead, like, I'm still learning the thing about leading. I like to lead with just like, I know some information and I'm going to teach you that information. And then I hopes that you go and you, after you've learned that stuff, you go and you teach other people. And we can all at some point be a little bit of a leader in our lives. And then some people will have multiple people that they're teaching these informations to. And then we're all working together to teach these informations. And we're forming something new and different amongst ourselves. But like, I'm not trying to hold anything over you or make you feel less than. I don't need your attention to soothe me. Like, you can either take the information or not. I lead myself. God leads me first and foremost, but I lead myself. Like, I don't need you to be led by me. I just hope that you figure out the information that I've learned to help lead yourself, and then teach other people those informative things so they can lead themselves, and we all can come together and have input on the society that we would like to live in, that is peaceful and wonderful. And I feel like that's a good way to be. Like, everybody gets a chance to be a leader at some point. Everybody gets a chance to maybe lead in your own field or something like that. Everybody gets a chance to lead themselves and to be loved for the self that they created within themselves, so that they don't have to feel like the only way I can be loved is if I can control the love that I'm receiving. Because that's what this nigga's doing. He's controlling. That's why being arrogant is a weakness. It's one of the biggest weaknesses. Because literally, all you have to do with an arrogant nigga is act like the thing that he thinks you are. Because they just derive their validation from outside of themselves. They need to know that they are affecting you in some way. So if they want the little docile bitch, like, oh my gosh, daddy, like, I just can't. If they want the sultry vixen, or if they want to reminisce in the trauma that they've experienced, and then they want somebody that's abusive to them, you just act like the bitch that they think that you are. And then you undercut them and steal from them or do some fuck shit. That's how you, because they're like, people that that are manipulative and toxic, they're just the other end of the spectrum from the passive people, but it's the same manipulative spectrum. And they have experienced the same traumas. The aggressive ones have just copied their abusers, but they're still just as hurt as the passive ones. The passive ones is using their passivity and their people pleasing to manipulate people. The aggressive ones are using force and fear and control to manipulate people, but they're both putting you in a box and saying that you should be this way. Or the passive one is more so putting themselves in a box and saying that I need to be this way for people to like me. The aggressive one is saying, I need people to be this way so I can feel safe in the world. And so I'm going to make them be this way. Passive ones, all you got to do is play to their people pleasing. That's what manipulators do when they end up in relationships with passive people. That's what love bombing is. You're playing to their people pleasing and their need for love and support. And then when they get good into that, then you switch it up on them and turn into a fucking evil bastard. The aggressive ones, all you gotta do, like, you can, and that's why like when you watch shit like Interview with the Vampire, the television show, you see how Louis can switch between being the passive bitch that can be controlled by this person into the aggressive, abusive person that can like, that's why it's a spectrum, and you can move back and forth on the spectrum depending on the situation that you're in. So an aggressive motherfucker can easily be turned passive and by somebody that they feel is more aggressive and more powerful than them. So that's why you need to heal and find balance, love, because you're just easily controlled, and that's sad and miserable. Everything, it's exhausting. Everything you do, every move you make is calculated around how can I get validation from the people outside of me. That's sickening and sad. My motivation is myself and God, and people that I care about. Like, I care because I've allowed you in my life and I care about you and I want you to be happy too, but I'm not going to be like, that's not my complete and ultimate motivation to live and move through the world. So yeah, you got this nigga over here, he's aggressive, but all you got to do is play to that. You just have to stay emotionally disconnected. That's what I always said. The reason why trash niggas, manipulative niggas, narcissistic tendencies, or narcissistic niggas, even sociopathic niggas, the reason why they're so good at sex a lot of the times is because sex is like their coping skill or the tool that they use to manipulate people. So they hyper focus on becoming very good at it so they can keep you attached to them. So I said, if you want some good, excellent dick, you fuck with them niggas. But you have to stay completely emotionally unattached. And you have to make sure that they don't know where you live. They don't have your phone number. No, because when you're they don't want you to be emotionally unattached. They want you to be. That's why, like, when you have friends with benefits with some niggas and you're emotionally unattached, they start crashing out because they've learned growing up that the only way to feel wanted and needed is to be in control of your emotions. And so you can't be friends with benefits with them and be emotionally unattached because they don't understand it in their mind. They speak a good game and they say they want friends with benefits. The next thing you know, they're outside your door at 3:00 in the morning with a boombox and shit. And we just fucked one time. Like, what's going on? We were just supposed to be friends with benefits, and you over here crashing the fuck out on my door. See, this is why I shouldn't have gave you my address. So it's too many hoops you got to jump through, but it is excellent dick. It is really good dick, and it is, an experience that you can only have one time because it's very addictive dick. And these niggas will cling to you and won't let you go when you don't want to be with them, because you not being with them is a reminder of their trauma of being abandoned and shit. And so they don't want to feel that. So they think that you're the key to not feeling that at that point. So oh gosh, we went from the DSM to the sociopath to the narcissist to talking about niggas and they dick, and it's magical here. It's a magical place, y'all. So anyways, like, they get out in the street, none of them niggas gonna help him. You created an army of people that are against you just because you scared them too much, love. That's not. Arrogance is your downfall. Like, that's how serial killers get caught, because they put people. That's the BTK killer thought the police weren't going to. We're going to tell him the truth. When you add sociopathy in the mix, and if it really is a spectrum disorder, then that socializing thing that is an issue that you might see in autistics, you might see that in sociopathy. Like, you might see that in sociopathy, the bluntness and the self-centeredness enough to think that other people are going to be just like you and think just like you when they're not, love. Only that shit is on another spectrum directed towards mayhem and mischief and shit. And like, if you traumatize these people and they have that within them, that sociopathy, antisocial shit, they could turn into that type of shit. Or they could just be born like that, even though they come from decent family members and stuff like that. But like, I feel like it's like the ones that are really extreme, the serial killers and stuff, the serial killer sociopaths and stuff like that. I think there was a trauma added to the mix, because like I said in this book, she had loving parents. Her mom used to let her sit under the table and just tell the truth about all the shit she's done over the day and how all the mischief and mayhem that she got in, and she just told her to keep telling the truth, and she listened to her and cared about her, even though her mom would crash out occasionally, because this is like 70s, 80s, 90s. Like, we don't know what to do with this child. We don't know what this is. We're trying our best, but they didn't abuse her because she was different. They didn't abuse her differences or anything like that. They loved on her. And so that's why she was able to sit here and analyze herself over the years and come to terms with the shit that she had, and then reach out and help other people that are like her. And that's magical. That is a magical thing. And that's why I feel like I will never again put people in the category of unhealable. No, like, just open my fucking eyes. People are not unhealable. I think narcissists are maybe the hardest to heal. Like, I've had a few clients, maybe like 2 or 3 over the years, that I felt may have been full narcissists, or at least had some strong narcissistic tendencies. And then I tried to do EMDR with them, and we got through one session, and then they got scared, and I never saw them clients again. Because the thing is, they have to face this thing inside of them. I don't think I've had a sociopath, but I've had some narcissists that, like, just things they would say, there's a lot of attention seeking and manipulation, and I need to be on top no matter what type of shit going on, and at the expense of everyone else. I'm going to be mean and hurt people and stuff to let me know that there's some shit going on here that is beyond normal depression, anxiety, or trauma. And so, I don't think I've had a sociopath though. I don't think so. Like the way she describes how it is, I don't think so. And the thing is, it's like narcissists in particular, they don't like, if they do go to therapy, they mostly go to psychodynamic therapists. They don't tend to go to trauma-based therapists because trauma-based therapists can see through that shit. Like you come into my office and you start talking about how everybody's done everything to you, and you haven't done anything to anybody. I want to start asking questions. I'll be like, so like, why do you think that them people, that your exes, like did that to you? Because it seemed like all 5 of them crashed out at some point. Why do you think? Like, what did they say specifically as to why they slashed your tires? Like, why? Well, they said that I was cheating, but they were doing. And okay, there it is. There, and then I see too much, and then they leave, and I'm just like, well, I tried. I don't know what to tell you. They'll go to psychoanalysis, who are just mainly talk therapists, and they'll just let them talk and talk and talk. And then if you're not trained in trauma, you just think that, oh yeah, they just have so many people against them. I'm going to tell them that they need to do positive coping skills and set boundaries and get toxic people out of their lives. And they take this psychological rhetoric and add it to their dictionary of words to use to gaslight people. Like, my therapist said that you were toxic, and that you're gaslighting me, and that you need to and then it's like you feel bad for telling motherfuckers to go to therapy. That's why I always qualify it with, you need to see a trauma-based therapist. Anyway, so the neighborhood decides to let the little white boy leave, so he leaves. And then I thought the neighborhood niggas shot this motherfucker up. I remembered it wrong. So they let him leave too. They let Denzel leave, right? Cause I guess everybody knows about the Russians though. So he leaves, and then he's at the stoplight, and this van pulls up next to him with this white lady in it, right? And it's the Russians. He tries to speed off. They shoot him the fuck up like Queen Latifah on Set It Off. But it wasn't as sad because he's a fucked up person. It was sad when it happened to Queen Latifah. Like, she just, and then she fell, and it was so sad. I hated it. They shot his ass up, and then the movie was over. He came out with a show in 2017. It's 13 episodes. I didn't watch it, but I saw it when I was looking up this movie on IMDb, and I was like, they made his character white. Like, nigga, like, being black was like, they made his character white, then they made the rookie black. And I was just like, his character is played by Sean Penn. And I was just like, nigga, you ain't Denzel, first and foremost. You don't have that swag to bring that evil character to this character. I mean, like, you have your own Sean Penn swag, but you don't have Denzel. And the fact that he was black, that made the movie. That was an important piece. It was this black man going around doing this to his own fucking people. Being over his own fucking people. Like, we've seen that before, like with white folks and cop shows and things, and it's Italian cop over the Italian neighborhood, and they working for the mob and shit like that. But this was a newer, because we hadn't seen that fleshed out like that on the television. I think this was even before The Wire and shit. So I just, Sean Penn, They only had 13 episodes and after one season, so I just yep. But no, like, this really made me think, and it helps me watching shit like this helps me ground myself in myself more, even more so, because leaders should not be controlling people or trying to control people. They shouldn't be trying to control people with fear. They shouldn't be trying to take advantage of people and manipulate people. And then they're always shocked when people turn against them. Like Jim Jones, like, not all of them people drank that Kool-Aid. Some of them tried to escape, and then he had them people shot. A lot of them people got shot. Some of them escaped, but a lot of them were shot down. And it's like, you needed the control of these people so much that the loss of these 300, 400, 500 people was so insurmountable that you decided that they all needed to die and that was the end of it. So you could go down in history as being a leader of these. Like, no, nigga, you going down in history as being a fucking psychopath. Like, what's going on? And so, like, no, I don't want to be like that. I never want to put so much into outward validation that it makes me weak. That it makes me weak to the point where, like, I mean, yeah, if I have kids and shit like that, that's my kid. Like, if I have a husband and he's showing up for me, like, if it's people in my life that are showing up for me and not taking advantage of the outward validation that I'm seeking from them and stuff like that, that's one thing. But I mean, like, you wear that shit on your sleeve, people can see it. Like I said in my last video, like, when you are arrogant or aggressive, when you are passive, when you're living at extremes, you think you're hiding it. You're not. You're not. Niggas can see it. That's why the aggressives can tell when they got a passive person. They can tell. They can see it. You think you're pushing it down and hiding it. I always use the example of Inside Out 2. That little girl thought that she was pushing all of her anxiety down and all this stuff. But the fact that you were following after them older kids and leaving your friends behind and acting all frantic and extra to be around them older, like, they can see you, love. Like, that's why the older girls was looking at her crazy and shit when she was acting all extra and stuff, because they were just like, what's going on? Like, people can see you trying to hide your inner parts. Because in the act of hiding your inner parts, they're actually subconsciously showing, like, the strong black woman, like, I ain't got no problems. Just the fact that you're making that statement that I'm strong and I never cry and I don't have deep emotions is telling people that you're hiding something and that they can take advantage of, and they will try to take advantage. That's why the strongest you can be is at your most vulnerable. At my most vulnerable, I will tell you I have depression, anxiety. I will tell you I've been through shit. Because you're not going to be able to use that against me. Anything that you find out, I always have this thing where there are things that I don't tell people. There are still things that I don't tell people, but I always say if they ever found out, now I'm calculating in my head, how long do I have to go through the embarrassment before I'm over it? That's what I start doing. I don't try to cover it up. I don't try to act like I didn't do it. I just be like, oh, fuck. Now I got to own up to this shit and apologize and all this other shit. How long will I have to be embarrassed about this before I don't give a fuck what other people think? Usually it's not that long. Usually it might be like a month, depending on what it is. It might be a week. It might be a couple hours. It just depends on what it is. But, like, when I move my mindset over to thinking like that, I'm not even scared of shit that people could use against me anymore, because I'm just going to still live my life. Like, I'm just going to live my life. I don't care if I'm homeless. I don't care if I don't make money. Like, I was walking around the house talking to my cat yesterday, and I was like, you know what, girl? People be glorifying these celebrities and all this other shit. Like, these are just people. And, like, I'm not glorifying people. I'm the celebrity in my life. I'm the bad bitch in my life. Like, I'm the main star in my life, and I will always put myself first. Like, if I see a celebrity, like, I'm not gonna go up to them. Like, you can come up to me and talk to me. Like, you see something interesting about me, like, that's great. But for me, I'm just like, unless it's a cursory, like, hey, and then walk away because we made eye contact, and niggas like you to say hi when you make eye contact and whatever social norms and cordial, whatever the fucks. Because sometimes I'll make eye contact, and if I'm thinking about something else and I just happen to make eye contact with you, like, I'm not going to say hi. I just happen to make eye contact with you while I was thinking about something else. That's all that was. And so people think I'm rude because I wasn't thinking about you. Sometimes people be talking to me, but if I'm so immersed in what I'm doing, like, I literally will have, my brain is not paying attention to you. Like, some part of my brain hears you, but if I'm so immersed in what I'm doing, I'm not going to respond. Like, something in me, there's a wall there that I just, and then, like, after I'm done with what I'm doing, I'll look up and be like, was he talking to me? Or sometimes I won't even do that. I just won't care. Like, and people think I'm an asshole, and I don't know what to tell you, love. Like, I'm not an asshole. I just be in my own little world doing my own little thing, and if you get my attention, I'll pay attention to you. Like, that's all I have to tell you. Like, most of the time, I'm not trying to get other people's attention. Like, You got to be doing something really interesting or be wearing something interesting or whatever for me to be like, oh, this is so interesting. Where did you get this from? Like, what are you doing? Like, but most of the time, like, and the thing is, like, I be wanting to socialize and build community and all this other stuff, but I'm not built bad like that. People think I'm anxious and shy and shit. I'm not anxious and shy. I just don't give a fuck. Like I'm tired. I don't give a fuck. Like if I ever got famous off this, I'm gonna be one of them motherfuckers that be like, she's so mean. Oh no, I'm not mean, love. You came up to me while I was in Target buying shit, or we're boycotting Target, so I don't know, like some store. You came up to me while I was buying shit at the store, and I wasn't thinking about you, so I wasn't going to interact with you. Like I'm a person. I do my own things. I do my own stuff. I hope you take the information from the art that I create and from the videos I create, and you use it for yourself and build your life. But if I'm in my own world doing my own thing, and I don't know you and you're a stranger, it's a lucky day if I give you attention. Like. It's a lucky day if I pay attention to you coming up to me as a stranger in the middle of nowhere. And I'm not going to hold a long conversation. I'll be like, oh, thank you. And I'm going to walk on. I am. Don't hold me there. Told you about holding me in places. Don't hold me there. Because then I'm going to be an asshole. And I'm going to be like, can you know? And if I never get famous again off of this shit, oh, well. But no, like... that's control. I don't want to be controlled like that. Like, I don't want to be controlled by other people's fickle emotions. Like people are fickle. Human beings are fickle. That's why you can't be holding on to either the aggressor who wants to control how people interact with them, or the passive who thinks that they can mold and shape themselves into what they think people want. Because the passive could be dealing with somebody that like had a bad day that day, and now they have an attitude all day, and now they have attitude with the passive person, and the passive person is so blinded by their own anxiety that they think they did something wrong, not considering that this person just might have had a bad day today. And so now you're trying to reshape. You may have had a good day, and then now you coming across this person with an attitude. Now you're trying to reshape yourself out of your good day into whatever you need to be to get this person to like you and shit. And the thing is, this person's not going to like you because the thing that made them upset isn't about you. And you might actually just annoy the fucking shit out of them if they're a decent person, or if they're a fucked up person, they might just manipulate that passiveness in you because why not? An aggressive person, you're walking around placing people in boxes and not seeing the full scope of who the person is. And so when they turn around and get revenge on you and you're shocked and surprised, well, that's because you didn't see them as a person, love. And so you left yourself open to be attacked. You didn't see them as a person, and then you treated them like an object, and now you're being left alone or attacked or whatever. And the fucking thing is that they always use the same manipulative tactics. They never switch it up. Like, that's why it's a pathology, because every person that's dealt with a manipulative person has dealt with the same exact tactics. The gaslighting, the love bombing. That's why we have names for them, because it's the same thing all the way around. It's the same symptomology, the same pathology all the way around. The gaslighting, the love bombing, the manipulation, the like it's the same behavior. So that's easy to spot. You're not doing anything new, because to do something new would mean that you would have to step out of manipulating this person and actually just trust this person to love you. That's the problem with manipulative, abusive people. The same with passive people. You don't trust people to love you for yourself. And you think that yourself is a monster, whether you're passive or you're aggressive. And so you really believe that no one can love you for you, because people have left you for your aggression or for your anxiety and your passiveness. When in reality, there are people that will love you and forgive you for the things you've done. Everybody probably won't, but there is a period, like let's say you have an abusive parent, right? There is a period of time where your child will still forgive you for abusing them if you go to therapy and get help. Sometimes those periods are long, all the way into their adulthood. Sometimes those periods are short, and as soon as they turn 18, or they might run away at 15 or some shit like that, and you'll never see them again. But there is always a period of time, because your inner child always wants your parents. Always want those parents that are supposed to love you and shit. So there's a period of time where they will forgive you, and you are not utilizing that time wisely by getting the help you need and taking accountability for your behavior so you can be loved, because you don't think you can be loved. You think that the only way that you can be loved is by controlling them and making them bow and scrape for you, because that makes you feel powerful. Power is not love. There's power in love, but usually that comes with allowing yourself to let go and be free of needing to control, of the need to control. There is control in the uncontrolled, because you can still set boundaries no matter what. It'll hurt and you'll potentially lose people, but the most control you'll ever have is in the uncontrolled, and just letting life happen, letting people that need to be in your life be in your life, and the people that don't need to be in your life, you let them walk away, or you walk away. And people aren't doing that. People are tightly holding on and controlling you and scaring you to death, or they're passively molding and reshaping themselves into whatever version that you need, that people need to see, that they think people need in order to like them. And it's just like, that's not how you live. It causes stress cancer, because cortisol is a stress hormone that moves through your body when you're stressed out, and cortisol causes inflammation in your body. And if you have a susceptibility for cancer in your genetic makeup, well, cancer is just a cell that wouldn't stop healing itself. That's why natural killer cells are so important. So like, it's a cell that keeps on multiplying in the healing process, and that's how it turns to cancer. So if you're causing a bunch of shit ton of inflammation in your body, and your body's always healing itself, well, if you have a susceptibility for cancer, you're more likely for that one of them cells that are constantly inflamed and healing itself to turn into cancer. I'm not going to let that happen. You're not going to give me stress cancer, love. Like, you're not going to give me stress cancer. I don't. Oh, shit. Just be nice, people. Be nice to yourself first. Believe that you can be loved, so you don't end up in the extremes and the dregs of society all fucked up and shit. She believed she could be loved, even though she didn't have the emotional capacity in certain areas. This woman right here, a whole antisocial personality disorder bitch, believed that she deserved to be loved, and she deserved to love herself enough to figure out what the fuck was going on with her, even though society said that she was unhealable. And you know what? She has taught me more about this disorder than I've ever heard before. And now I'm just like, everybody can be healed, nigga. If you want to. She wanted to be healed. Even the sociopaths can be a Wednesday Addams and want to be a better person and not be harmful to other people or animals or anything like that, And so now I'm just like, can a narcissist be healed? Can they? Is it possible to fix that? Borderlines, a long time people thought they were unhealable, but then EMDR and other somatic interventions came around, and that they figured out that EMDR works, the DBT, dialectical behavioral therapy, and EMDR and mindfulness and shit works the best with borderline people, and they figure it the fuck out. They got to stay on their P's and Q's about they shit, but they figure it the fuck out. Same with histrionics. It's all about, those are disorders where you fiend for attention and you're afraid of abandonment. Histrionics and borderline personality disorder. That's why they say it, like, a lot of people believe it comes from trauma, because like, you're not born fiending for attention, but you can be born having low emotional affect and having to teach yourself how to express your emotions and feel certain emotions in the world, if it's possible to do so, and surround yourself by people that, like, she got a whole husband and kids and shit, girl. Like, part of it is because she's a white woman, but I don't care something about, like, let a black woman come out and be like, I figured out I was a sociopath and I healed myself. Healing sometimes just looks like accepting and then learning how to work with what you got. There's no cure for these mental health disorders. There's no cure for these things. It's constantly, that's why you have to maintain your emotions all the time, just like you brush your teeth and take a bath every day and drink water and eat food and shit like that. Like, you think you put that much energy into taking care of your body, and you don't have to do that with your fucking emotions. So when you have mental health disorders, you have to just be more on top of it, and you have to give yourself grace, and you have to allow to validate the things that you're feeling and shit like that. This nigga wasn't validating and giving himself grace, and he didn't believe he could be loved, and he was a monster. He was a fucking monster. He didn't care about people. He didn't care about his own child getting shot by a stray bullet. He didn't give a fuck. He didn't care about his girlfriend, wife, whoever the fuck Eva Longoria was. He didn't care about that bitch getting shot or nothing. All he cared about was himself. He was very self-centered. And the bottom line is getting his money and also being seen and being, on top of the world and being this, whatever he thought he was in his head. And then the other nigga was just passive for a little bit until he realized that, no, you need to man up and kill this nigga. Do something. No, this nigga's crazy. He left you in a house full of Latin folks. They was about to chop you up in a bathtub, love. Jesus saved you with that wallet you picked up, love. That's what it was. Yes. So no, I no longer see. That's growth, because I thought this nigga was sexy as fuck in this movie. I was like, look at him, he's so aggressive. And then slowly, as I started watching it more and more, I was just like, this nigga's a bitch. All you got to do is just pretend to be a docile bitch and then kill him in his sleep. Like, like, no, you're not gonna hit me. You're not gonna come up in here. Like, all that bitch had to do was like wait till he went to sleep, got a knife, slit his throat. Like, no, like that's also why I can't put myself in situations where like niggas is fucking with me. Like, I was thinking about it earlier today too. I was just like, no, I can't be in situations where niggas are fucking with me. Like I'm too like take cheating for example. I am not a fucking cheater. But the only way I am not a cheater is because I actively do things to make sure I stay out of situations that would lead to any mishaps of cheating to happen. Like, a lot of women actually do this, but they don't tell their niggas because niggas are emotionally stunted and they're sensitive. But literally, your friends have probably tried at some point to test the bitch that you're dating. Your girlfriend, your wife, unless you have really decent friends and you have really high self-awareness and you surround yourself by other people that have high self-awareness, your homeboys have probably tried to fuck your bitch. Bitch hasn't said nothing about it because, sensitive niggas they are emotional, but like actively try not to put myself in situations with men where I'm alone with them in a room. I try not to sit too close to them. I try not to, give them the full-on hug, give them a side hug and shit like that if I'm going to give you a hug. Just little things, because, and that's not to say, oh, she's saying you can't interact with men outside of being, no, I'm not saying that. I'm not. If you know that nigga and you know that nigga is an honorable man and his friends are honorable men and they wouldn't do some shit like that, go for it. I'm telling you my experiences that made me into this bitch that looks out for situations because niggas will try you. So one time I was with my ex and he and his friend, and we were imbibing on substances that involve lighters. That's all I'm gonna say. So my ex was sitting in between us and he was knocked the fuck out, right? And so I reached to get the lighter. Like, I asked his friend to pass it to me. They're gonna pass it to me and do the slow graze and let go of your fingers. You know what that is. But it's so borderline that if you say something, it's gonna be like, no, I wasn't. Oh my gosh, that bitch is. And I wasn't about to do that, right? So I used the lighter for the thing that I needed it to use for. And then when I passed the lighter back to him, I dropped it in my nigga's lap, right on his dick. That nigga was asleep, right? He was asleep. So this nigga had to wake up my nigga, my ex, and then to get him to give it, because he wasn't going to get the lighter off of his dick. And I was just like, I acted like I was high and shit too. I was like, oh, I dropped it. See, it's shit like, that's what I mean. Your niggas have tried your bitch unless you have very honorable friends. And so these are the things women have to put up with when they're around their nigga and his friends or his cousins or other men in the space. And so I actively make sure that I'm clocking these motherfuckers because I'm not about to be put in any fucking untoward situations, okay? You have to be active and not cheating. You can't just be like, oh, I'm not gonna cheat. Niggas don't do that. They let bitches come up to them and put their titties on their arm while they talking to them and lean all into them and shit. And then when you say something to them, they be like, what do you mean? Like, oh God. And then next thing you know, they dick end up in somebody, and I'm just like, I ain't a nigga that's as active as me in avoiding situations that could lead to cheating. Because even you can be the most honorable nigga in the world, that don't mean bitches ain't gonna try you. Just like I know I'm an honorable bitch, but I know niggas are still gonna try me. And I have to be the one to stop them from trying me, so they know not to try me again. I need a nigga that also is aware that bitches are gonna try them. And you need to be the one to stop these bitches, especially because when you try to stop these motherfuckers, they try harder because they see a challenge now. And you need at every point just be like, nah, nigga, don't be in the same room by yourself with that bitch because she be trying to lean her titties on your arm when you talking to each other and shit. Nah, nigga, like you niggas don't be doing shit like that. So that's how active I am in making sure cheating and nefarious things don't happen when I'm in a relationship. Just like you have to be active with your emotions, just like you have to be active with brushing your teeth, or active with your emotions, consistent with your emotions, consistent with brushing your teeth, consistent with washing your hair, taking a shower, eating food, or your body will stink or die or some shit, right? Just like you have to be consistent in all of those things, you have to be consistent and actively checking your emotions and checking motherfuckers around you that will do nefarious things and pull you into fucked up situations. And no one has to know that you're checking these motherfuckers. I dropped that shit in my ex's lap. I didn't say nothing to that to his friend. I looked sloppy too, and I just looked like I was fucked up. I was like, oh, I guess, oops. You don't have to make it obvious. You just need to make it enough for them to never try you again. Now you gotta wake this nigga up because you would have had to touch his penis to get that motherfucking lighter, bitch. How'd it feel? And so like it's shit like that like nobody is putting in the consistent work to be a better person that you have to do. It's like working out. It's too hard for people. And then that's how you leave yourself open, because motherfuckers know that you're not doing the emotional workouts that you need to do. And they come into your life and they spot the shit that you wearing on your sleeve that you don't even know. You don't even see how you showing your hand to motherfuckers. This nigga at the beginning of the movie talking about, I'm going to do whatever you want me to do. Like, nigga, shut up. Like, what are you talking about? You going to do whatever he wants you to do. You don't know this nigga. Okay. Why would you even say that? I would just be observing. Like, you don't say shit. You don't get this nigga. You don't show your hand like that. But, he hasn't. This was his first experience. Hopefully, he doesn't become jaded and fucked up. But I don't think that type of behavior that Denzel was displaying, like, that's some shit that's been in you. It's been in you. I don't care. And so, like, that's how diligent you have to be with your fucking self to be a decent fucking person. You gotta be checking yourself. You gotta check other people, and you gotta stay on top of it. So it's gonna be a long time before my husband comes. Because the work that I put into myself, for me now, is easy. It's easy to do that because I don't want to cheat on my nigga. I don't want to be controlling people or making people afraid of me. I don't want to. I used to care and be a people pleaser and try to mold myself into what I thought people wanted, but I don't want to do that. Like, I'm just going to be myself. And so for me, that shit comes easy. For especially men that have not been socialized in their emotions and shit like that, and understand who they are and love themselves and can be easily bamboozled and all this other shit. No, you leaving your shit out there to get hurt. You leaving your shit out there to get hurt when you don't embrace yourself and your emotions. Because when you love yourself and your emotions and who you are as a person, then no one can hurt you. You ain't gonna make me feel bad for the shit I've been through. You ain't gonna make me feel bad for the way my hair look. You're gonna make me feel bad for anything about me, love. I'm laughing at you, honey, because you need this attention. You need this reaction so bad. And when people try me, I don't even say shit most of the time. I just be smiling inside like, oh, because there's a power in it. That's the true power. When you don't have to do shit, but nigga, you can tell niggas want your fucking attention. They need a reaction out of you. That's the power. I don't have to manipulate you. I don't have to take shit from you. All I gotta do is focus on myself and make myself happy, and you're questioning it, just like that nigga was questioning Queen Latifah in Last Holiday because she can't be this happy. She has to be hiding something. And then the thing he thought she was hiding, which was working at the damn mall and shit, wasn't even a thing that bothered her because she wasn't hiding it. If they had asked her directly, she probably would have just told them that she works at the damn mall and shit. Girl. And then he sat there, looked stupid, and everybody left him at that fucking table because he's a piece of shit. Right. Because who you are is coming from a fucked up place, and you need to fix that and work on that and be a better person, but you're not. And so it makes you a bitch. And it made Alonzo a bitch. It made Alonzo somebody that would be easily manipulated by someone that just played the part that he wanted them to play. All you gotta do is play the part. That's how bitches get niggas with bags. They just pretend to be the docile bitch or the sultry bitch or the mean bitch, whatever bitch you want me to be, love. And you won't know the difference because you don't consider me a human being outside of what I'm showing you and what fits in your box for me in your head. You don't consider me a person. And that is leaving you open and weak to people that can play that shit against you. You just have to play it again. You just can't let the manipulation and the aggressiveness get to you. You have to see it for what it is. Don't internalize it. And if you want to play these niggas. Get a bag. I don't give a fuck. Get a bag, bitch. Like, just make sure that you protect yourself because these niggas are also sensitive and emotional. And once they realize that they're being played, all bets are off. They will crash the fuck out and you could end up dead. So just make sure your plan is foolproof. Not like this fucked up weird ass plan where we got the rookie here and we're gonna kill him anyway. So like, what's the point of even having him here? Like, so yeah, it made me think about a lot with this movie. Yep. He played a good part in this movie. He did. He always say this is his favorite movie because he would play the villain. He's supposed to be in Black Panther 3. Maybe he'll play another villain. King Kong ain't got nothing on me. Okay, nigga. Okay, love. But you still got shot up by them white people at the end of the day because you're just controllable. It just makes you controllable. That's all. That's why Trump is easily controlled by Elon Musk and the rest of the people that are controlling him. And because he was already like that. So I was with his client the other day and we were talking about how Diddy is like in with these white people that also do the same thing. He's a monster amongst bigger monsters. And he's being used as a scapegoat for the bigger monsters. And I was just like, yeah, that's possible. That is possible. He's being used as a scapegoat because there are other white men out there doing the same thing that Diddy's doing. They're not getting caught. Yeah, we caught Epstein and Weinstein and that one gay dude off of the President show on Netflix and shit. They don't want no more of them niggas to get caught, them white people. So I'm wondering, like, okay, let's use our little scapegoat monster. And that's what they're doing. Not to say that he doesn't deserve it. Oh, hell no. He's still a monster. But we have to realize when we're the scapegoat in the group, just like the rookie was the scapegoat in that group. Like, you are surrounded by people that are trying to take advantage of you and you're not clocking them because you think they're more powerful than you, even though you're also fucked up individual too. And that's how your shit get rocked. That's how you get thrown under the bus. Or you think that you have built up a following of people that you can control, but really you've built up a bunch of enemies that resent you and just waiting for the right moment to kill you. Don't be an evil person. And try not to be passive either, because that's just, you just bleeding everywhere. It's just getting taken advantage of all the time. It's just weak. It's just weak. Arrogance is not sexy at all. It's gross and it's weak. It's fake. Maybe that, like, here we go back to, there's the Aries in me. I can't do fake shit. Like, you come at me and you arrogant and you bragging and you just talking all this shit. I'm just looking at you like, please walk away from me. Please, God. Most of them niggas don't know how to interact with me, and I'm not gonna fake it and pretend to be what they want me to be, because I don't really give a shit about them and I don't want nothing from them. So most of the time they don't know how to interact with me, and they walk away from me because they can't manipulate me. It helps that I'm a therapist, so when they ask me what I do and then they chalk it up to me being a therapist, like, oh, she's just a mind. No, it's not mind reading. It's just pattern recognition. It's not even me knowing these things about therapy. It's literally just me recognizing patterns of behaviors and believing the patterns of behaviors that I'm seeing in this individual, instead of making excuses for these patterns of behavior and being in denial about these patterns of behavior. That's why I'm not jaded to the point where I don't want to try to be with somebody, because first of all, you're not going to control my ability to want to be with somebody one day. But also, like, this stuff isn't hidden like you think it is. It's not something that sneaks by you most of the time. Most of the time, these people cannot contain all of their fucked upness. So that's why I just notice how you treat yourself, how you treat other people. If you're treating me great, then that's what I'm noticing. If you're treating me fucked up, well, then I already know what's up, nigga. Like, I don't observe too much longer. And then that's how I know. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, most people that like are healed and don't make excuses for fucked up behavior can do that. And so it's not about me being a therapist. It's about me have gone through shit and experienced stuff in my life that has made me realize that I don't want to go through that shit ever again. So let me clock these behaviors that caused me to go through this shit, so I never have to experience those types of behaviors again. And there must be some nigga out there that is self-aware and loves himself and is capable of accepting love from others and actively pays attention to the things going on around him, so as not to get in situations where motherfuckers will try his penis, or his heart, or his emotions. Nobody's perfect. There's nothing perfect here. Like, this is constant work every day not to fuck up and like ruin my life. Like, so nobody's perfect. I am not a perfect person. There's no such thing as perfection in the world. I had to learn nobody's perfect just by reading the bit of this book that I done read. Like, nobody is 100% this, that, or the other. Nobody is 100% unhealable and shit like that, because this is the world, and the world has nothing perfect in it that doesn't, have shades of gray and is on the spectrum and shit like that. So yeah, that's what I learned by rewatching Training Day, is being evil makes you weak. You just have to come across somebody that won't take your shit, and they can just manipulate that shit inside of you, that little child that's hurt, and you won't even see it coming. You'll just look up one day and wonder why the person that you thought you were abusing is now abusing you. What happened? I thought I was in control. I hit this bitch in the face. I know you did. And then you woke up and you had a broken hand and didn't know how that happened. The hand you hit her with in the face. Let's try that again. So, say all that to say, find balance in yourself and in your life. Learn how to love yourself. Learn how to accept love from other people, and without controlling other people. And learn that there is control in losing control, because you always can set a boundary. You just have to be okay with the consequences, with the grief that comes with the consequences of setting boundaries with people who may leave you. I'm not afraid to be left. I've been alone. It's fine. It's not scary like I used to think it was. It's actually, I've learned a lot about myself Like how I need an adjustable bed for my back and shit. Like I was thinking about it yesterday. I was like, if I had been with that nigga buying an adjustable bed, he probably would have talked me out of it. Probably would have been like, you don't need that. You don't need that bed for you. And then it would have been, I would have never known the joys of having an adjustable bed because I would have been listening to this trash ass nigga instead of listening to my own heart and what I want and what I need. And I get the best sleeps ever. In the 90s, I just thought that shit was for old people and shit. Like, I didn't even want to buy one until they let me test it out at the fucking store. And I was like, wait a minute. I'm hovering. It's like I'm floating and shit. Well, I want this. So I'm not scared of that. That's not scary. Like, it's annoying because I would like to have a husband and a child, children, and be all of that stuff and whatever. But it's not something that I would give up my freedoms and mental health for. You got me fucked up. I don't have time for that, love. I'm not giving up my freedom and my mental health for a nigga. You gonna come correct or don't come at all. Like you gonna let me be me and I'm gonna let you be you and we gonna bring our us's together and form some type of unity there and it's gonna be great. Or you can't come over here. You can't come over here. You got me fucked up. Yep. What did you think about this review? Let me know. I hope you enjoyed it. I don't know what I'm going to do next. It's kind of a free-for-all because I still haven't heard nothing about P-Valley coming back, even though they started production last fall. So I don't understand why we ain't heard nothing about them coming back. Whatever, bitch. What's that? Care. So it's gonna be random movies and random shit that I watch that I find interesting and shit at this point, and that's cool. You know, spread my wings, just stay on one show the whole time. It's boring. It's boring after a while. You want to, mix it up and shit. But let me know what you think. I hope you enjoyed this review and love yourself and let yourself be loved. Oh, hit myself in the face. Later days.